So the fuel gauge on this has been questionable. You can sort of see it right there. It stopped working one day when we were going up to our dog trial. So from what I understand, you push this and this should test it. Oh, nope. So you hold down the reset button. That doesn't seem to work. Oh, check. There, it says right there. Trip odometer is 00000, whatever. It's got a little thing going right there. Oh! I might have to redo this to show you what's going on here, because that's crazy. Oh, there we go. All the lights are on. Okay. That looks like... Oh, there goes fuel gauge down to 0. That gauge swung. That gauge swung. That gauge went all the way to full. I guess that gauge works. It went to quarter and then it went all the way to full. Now that seems weird, but maybe that's the way it's supposed to work. I don't know. I'll just do this again. So put it to off. I'm just going to hold this button down and then I'll put the truck to on. There, see it says check. That does that. And then all the gauge lights should go on. Sorry about the dust, I should have cleaned it beforehand. Boom, all the lights are on. It sets all the gauges to 0. Oh, and then it does a quarter or an eighth. That fuel gauge seems faulty. I don't know what it's supposed to do, but that seemed weird. The rest of them did like a quarter, a half, and then full. This one did an eighth, a half, and then full. That doesn't seem right. Maybe that gauge is faulty. I don't know. I'll have to go some research and see. The next thing I gotta do is figure out what size these fittings are so that Carrie can get me a couple caps for this. Although that weld looks like it's broken in there too. Oh shit, that weld doesn't look so great. I wonder if that's leaking at that weld. That seems questionable. I've thought that this cylinder was leaking here, but I've got a leak up definitely here. But I'm now looking at this weld, looks like it's broke. So that could be, neither of these welds look overly spectacular. That might have to be repaired. What's the other side look like? Not wonderful. Shit. Can this pop out? Damn, I might have a lot of work there. Anyways, I know this hose is busted. So I gotta find out what size this fitting is and get Carrie to get me a cap for that. And for this. So that we can cap this and not lose any hydraulic oil. This is leaking, or yeah. That's definitely leaking. Shit. Actually looks like this cap is spinning loose. Huh. So we do use this machine fairly hard, but I'm not liking the way that looks. That might have to be fixed. What's this one look like? None of them were done great. But leads me to believe, what the heck is this for? Like, this looks like a nut. I haven't seen that fitting. I'll have to double check that. Nope. That fitting looks like a crappy weld too. And I know this is leaking out of the cylinder gland there. But I guess Bobcat, when they welded these little fittings, and I'm pointing at it, but I'm holding the phone, so it doesn't help. They just must have shitty welds. I guess that's the problem. Hopefully that backhoe, we don't need to worry about that, but it's got paint coming off of it, which kind of tells me it's moving, but also could just be the fluid moving over it as it's leaking. I don't know. We're gonna grab the skid steer, obviously, and I'm gonna head over to the hayfield. The sheep are in there. I got some logs and trees to move and some bush piles to sort out. I did check over this truck and the gauges were working fine. It tells me either gauge in the tank is broken, stuck, or we've got a wiring issue along the frame. There's already a wiring issue on the frame that we keep getting a short to trailer brakes. And the ABS unit keeps doing a funky thing, so I think I got a plug on the wheel well on the other side that I need to disassemble and clean. To do that, I got to take the whole fender liners out. At this point, I'll just keep filling this up and not worry about it too much. The issue I got is if we've got a short to the in-tank pump and we're not getting fuel pressure up to the injection pump, we'll starve the injection pump and it'll burn out. And that injection pump is discontinued. They're like $5,000 if you can find them. And that's pretty much half the price of this truck. Well, if you eliminate the rust. So what I need to do is probably order a fuel pressure warning light for this so that we know if that pump on the tank fails, we'll have a drop in fuel pressure. We can shut the truck off and deal with that. I only have to run this on Tuesday, hopefully, to go get hay because we need another 2 bales. I might grab the sled trailer and get 3 bales of hay just to make sure we're set up for a bit so I can diagnose this. But we got actual farm work to do, which is why I'm getting this fueled up. And unfortunately, and then we got to get this camper going too, because I'd like to get this done and out of here because this is taking up a lot of space and I got to fix that. So the truck is driving for now. We'll order up a fuel pressure gauge warning light. I think it's like $100, so that's not a big expense. And at the time, I got a few more things I got to put into that. So yeah, let's get ready to go. I've yammered on long enough. We'll grab the... There's nothing I need here. No, I think we'll... Oh, I got to get the bale forks and bring them over. So we'll get that. Put this over to the shop and we'll get it greased. See, that's the problem with multiple pieces of equipment. I can't remember what everything greasable on these are. I guess the Bobcat attachment doesn't have grease fittings. Well, there's an easy way to find out. Go better than all. There's a grease fitting in here. Huh. Weird. Well, let's just, where the heck is that? Oh, where's the steel shaft? There it is. doesn't. Seems weird. How should I... Oh, everything's in the way. Well, seems good enough, I guess. Yeah, I should get these things done on either side and the drive shaft, but we'll do that later. Let's just get this to work. Well, these guys didn't have both waterers down here. When we moved the boys down, we didn't grab their waterers, so now that we got the big group together, we got 3 waterers for them. Hey, little bud. So I wait for that water to fill. We'll go over. My original penciled in plan was once the skid steer was done digging out and repairing the back steps and the cattle guard, once with the backhoe, sorry. I mean, when the backhoe was done all that stuff I just said, we were gonna hook it to the skid steer and run the skid steer over to the sheep station cabin area. Dump the skid steer, or dump the backhoe there on the south side of the creek so we don't have to go back and forth. It's halfway to where its next job needs to be. We're going to grab the 4-in-1 bucket that is sitting out there and use that to start moving some of the big stumps that we had on a slash pile onto the new slash pile so we could clean up the hayfield a bit better. And then I would go over and move the skid steer from where it is. I would take it and the 4-in-1 bucket all the way to the back and come in off the fire guard alleyway and start grabbing all the branches piles and throwing them into the dump truck, which I gotta fix the dump truck still. And then we'd add all those branches to the slash pile. Sort of like as you're going that way, you're doing the jobs out that way. Then I was gonna grab and use the case, which is sitting right somewhere down here. Sitting right there. I was gonna grab that with the bale forks on it and take that out back to start moving some of the big logs that were sitting in the hayfield on the front, on the north side, and at the south side on that guard that we're clearing. And I would grab these 2 attachments in the case on the forks and take the bucket and the forks for the skid steer out there just to have all those on hand for some of the other jobs that need to be done at the back. The backhoe is going to be transported on the skid steer because it's easier to do it that way. Even using it on the front tool carrier on the tractor, it's a lot of weight off the front, so it's always better to hook it up to the skid steer to move it. I don't even think I could sling this and carry it with the case. You could take the weight, but it's just going to be awkward. So we're going to burn a little bit extra fuel, but we're going to take these attachments out, put them at the cabin area or where we're working in the hayfield, grab the 4-in-1 bucket and start moving those stumps onto the slash pile. And we'll use this attachment here to grab the logs that are sitting at the north end of the hayfield on the cut line and put those into the locations they need to go. Some is firewood. Goddamn. Some is firewood and some is building materials for Rodney's pen, which is going to turn into another ram pen. And then what we'll do is we'll bring the skid steer all the way back here when this is fixed without any tool parts on the front of it, and then pick this up and then head out back. So what we'll probably do at that time too is I might as well bring the skid steer back to put some work into it. What I have done is put this on this attachment, originally intended for the tractor. We also have, just because I did these at the same time, I will set this video up pretty quick here, but this is the trailer carrier for the tractor. And you can see on the bottom I built another spot there, little receiver hitch, because we have a little winch that's sitting right there, and that slides right into there, so you can have a winch on the front of the tractor or on the back of the tractor or on the front of the skid steer, which I completely forgot I could wire it. I got some wire for the tractor, but it's not long enough to go from the front to the thing without adding another thing, so I was hoping to run it now, just thought of this the other day, right here, put the attachment here and then run it along here and into the battery, but the battery's on the other side. So when we bring the skid steer back, we will rig up the electrical for the winch, and I also we ordered up a tachometer right here. This is originally bought for use on, I'll just put it back in there, but you can see. I originally bought this for the generator when I wasn't sure with the windings what the heck was going on there, and I thought maybe the RPMs is off. This is a 60 hertz frequency generator, which means this has to run at 1800 RPM in order to achieve that 60 hertz frequency. So I wanted to make sure that I'd have a tack on here somewhere so I could see what RPM this was running at to make sure the frequency was fine. And then I realized my multimeter can test frequency. So when I put it into here and I got the frequency, I was getting 62 hertz. And because we know 1800 RPM equals 60 hertz, that means this is running at 1860 RPM. It's better to set your frequency than it is to set your RPM and hope your frequency is right. So I was just like, well, I don't need it for this. It's a pointless thing to have. Yes, it would be cool to add to this, but we don't need it. So I was like, okay, tractor has a tack, truck has a tack, van has a tack, Carrie's Jeep has a tack, the 12 valve has a tachometer, that 91 has a tachometer, the case has a tachometer, those two Fords each have a tachometer, that cab came with a tachometer, this cab came with a tachometer. The only thing that doesn't have it is the skid steer. So we're going to add that tachometer to the skid steer. Any reason why? Just because I think it's, because I want to. So screw you. And then I'm going to also add the issue I got on this. This is the brake. I never know when I've got it set. I'm really bad at that. The brake is only meant on this to stop it from rolling when it's parked. And I a lot of times jump in and forget to check it and just drive forward, and I wear the brake settings out. So I want to put a really bright red light up here that says, hey, your brake is on, so it reminds me to turn it off. So those three things we'll do when I bring this back from the work it's being done. So we'll add the wiring for the winch, we'll add a tack, and we'll add a brake warning light that'll tell me turn off the lights. One more thing on this too is I was building a door for it right there. Because our skid steer came with a door. You can actually see where the hinges were. The guy I bought this from couldn't find it because it was between two farms he owned. But you can see we got the hinges here. You can see some measurements. And then there's the door striker right there. It opens out this way. You can't use the door when you got the backhoe on it because the seat's in the way. So I got it. I was building it to be a hinge door that I just take off when I got the backhoe. But now I'm thinking if I could build the door that comes out and then lays flat up here. So I might have to modify the door. Will I get to that? I don't know, maybe, possibly, we'll see. Yeah, so there's probably some other upgrades, but those three are the main ones: the wiring, the light, and the tack. So hopefully we'll get that done. Let's go check waters. So I just gotta wait for the skid steer to bleed off some pressure to put the 4-in-1 bucket on. I just grabbed it up here. Usually I have a little yellow hammer that I can use to force the fittings on, but we were having to load buckets and stuff and changing out everything yesterday, and I don't know where it got put. So I forgot, I gotta come over here with the backhoe. We're over by there's where our Shishoogi band fence is going together. Part of the reason we got to do the fire guard is I have the opposite one of these sitting on the guard that we got to bark and burn and treat, because I need the next one of the tall ones in before I can finish these short ones in the ground. So what I was also thinking here, you can see our other water source here. You can see the concrete. There's a bunch of concrete there. The casing for this has all been destroyed, and this is got to be dug out as well, and we got to reset the casing. So we have to have the backhoe over here, and I'll at least dig this out while it's barely dry, because I think it's filling itself in. The water level should be up to about where this piece of slab is here. It should be all the way around and out. So we're also in a drought, but we also need to dig this out. Take advantage of the drought and dig it out. Take advantage of the drought and dig it out. And there's a dump truck. So at some point I got to come over with tools and we got to pull the fuel pump off of this. So we can order the new one up. I also have a brake master cylinder for this too. So we could possibly have brakes on this, which means it's almost street legal except for that bigger tire on that side. It was insured in the state it is now, so I wouldn't mind fixing it up, but at least we could run it up and down everywhere and maybe a little ways further down to go grab some stuff and move some stuff around a bit safer. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, let's see how this is doing. I'll see if I can hook this up. That was unpleasant. I think this fitting is blowing apart inside. There's a bit of seal coming out of it, but it's sprayed everywhere. Yeah. This has been sitting over here for a while. I might have to replace that bottom fitting. It's not a big deal, but not what I want to do. But hopefully this works good enough to move some of those logs. I'll show you at the slash pile. Well, here's the old slash pile. It's mostly stumps left. I think we were going to put some more crap on here to try and reburn this and stack it up, but it is a little too close to these trees. We can see what they look like. It's still alive, but it did get heat singed. So we're going to put the new pile over here. There is a lot of mossy ground that needs the wood ash on it to help get the grass to grow. There is a bit of growth in this low area, like I've said before, or in a video that I don't know. There's water here. We built this whole area. You can see how it's built like that. You can really see from this point down and then up. That's all material I brought in to fill, to level that, to put our fence in. And then we brought the road up at the same time because there's water comes down here across and through all of this and then down and then out that way. So this area we're starting to go to seed, which is really nice, but the rest of this is pretty dead, so we should be able to not do any damage really to the soil and the grass. Not much more than what this is doing. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do here for videoing. I think I'm going to move a few of these because my hands are too gross to touch the controls and the cameras too much. So the hydraulic spill was just great. So I'm going to move a couple, 3 or 4 of these, see how this goes, and then probably go for lunch, wash up, and then we'll set something up that can follow us around as we video, because that'll work. But I'm going to move a few of these onto that pile and see what we can do. So this is not exactly the easiest job of easy jobs. There's a lot of dirt that came out of some of the stumps that did burn, and these ones. There's a lot of little ones. Some of the big ones are heavy. What I'm finding I'm having to do is pick up a scoop, tip the bucket back, open it a bit, shake the dirt out. And then I got to come out here and clean up some of these smaller branches somehow. Because, well, whatever. I could dig a hole. No, I don't have the backhoe. Just thinking out loud. So we'll come back after lunch and try and video some of this, I guess. I'm a little later than I was hoping because... But there's not a lot of big stumps in here, so I still might just dig a hole and bury these. Some of the smaller branches instead of trying to rake them all up and put them onto that, but I don't know yet. I've been burying stumps now on the guard, so when we get to those videos, I will show you that, yeah, we're just burying them now because they do take ages to burn. But there's only 1 or 2 big ones left in here, and then the rest is just small crap to clean up. But after lunch, let's get out of here. Gotta go grab the 12 valve. Oh, there it is. I still got the water trailer hooked up to it. Yep. Perfect. I'll take this home, watch the hole. And then I'll probably bring the bike back, but at least this will be home for if I need it for work. I was going to send up the drone to do some video of moving this, but I think my neighbor's mowing a bunch of dirt and the wind's blowing this way. So I'm not going to send the drone up to do some tracking shots because it'll just suck this crap up and I don't want to clean it. I just cleaned it up really good the other day. But is he mowing his driveway? How low is that thing? I can hear it cutting rocks. Like, what the hell? That's nuts. Anyways, I'm just gonna get this done then. Maybe when he's done, I don't know if you can see it. Like, it's all blowing right here. Looking in the trees is all dusty. It's nuts. God, I could just hear it whacking rocks. Oh man, that's not good for your blades. It's gonna be dull by the end of the day. Anyways, that's not a big deal. But well, now the wind's changing directions. You can see it blowing that way. We're not gonna take a risk though. I'll leave the drone down. I'll just get this finished. Whatever. We still got to go over where my little buddies are into this area and move some slash piles from up on this hillside, and then there's some more over there. So we can do that later. I just, like I said, gotta look after my equipment. Oh, as I hear the friggin', oh, that's his mower blades catching rocks. So we're not gonna wreck this little thing here. This is worth a lot of money, so I'm not gonna send it up in the dust. Oh, well, I got done as much as I can and pushed up this into a pile. What I think I'm gonna do here is we'll get the backhoe and we'll dig a hole and we'll just push this debris into that hole. This turned into a dusty, dirty mess. I'm like, I'm just covered in, see, there's my sleeve of my shirt. So I'm just covered in dirt. So I just didn't put the drone up to video anything. We had to pick up the stumps and then drop them to knock the dirt out of them. So yeah, that was unpleasant. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll dig a hole, pull the topsoil out, shove this into that hole, and then we'll spread the dirt out on top. But yeah, pretty cleaned up. There's still a little bit of debris that's along the paths that I drove to this. Push that all together. So I'm gonna call that done for today because I'm just absolutely filthy. So we'll come back maybe. I don't know about keep continuing this video, but we'll just be over here with the skid steer. Tomorrow we might go get hay and get that hydraulic hose for the backhoe, which case I'd take this back over, get the backhoe, and we can dump that hole. But we still got that pile of slash there, and then that pile of slash. Little tree, orange fence. That slash there. There is a slash pile up in here, and there's remnants of a slash pile. 2 slash piles, but I can't get in there with the stumps. So why would I even bring that up? I don't know. I want to grab these 2 though and put them onto this. And then there is some logs over there that need to be forked over and put into their locations. So we'll video that. But maybe I'll just call this one done. I don't know. I'm tired. I'm done. I gotta go check sheeps and such. So I'm just gonna leave the skid steer here. It's in our field. There's our manure. That's the only gate in. So other than the service gate at the back, I was pretty safe and secure. It's definitely dirty and dusty as well. I'm gonna have to pressure wash that off, I think, and change that fitting out. But it worked out good. I mean, it's a good machine. It's a little light for what we're working on. It bounces a lot, but it doesn't use a lot of fuel, which is also really nice. And it's really short and small to fit into barns. So I really like the size of it. If you go bigger, you risk not fitting where you need to go. And if you want a bigger machine, then that's why we got the case. So anyways, I'm going to go check the sheep. I think that's it for this one. I don't know. Possibly. I don't know. So here's the one pile. Here's the logs that got to truck out, and that's a group of firewood that needs to go out. I think there's a bit more there. And there's another pile just on the other side of those trees that got to go, I just noticed. And the other pile is just through there. So I got a big pile there. I got a big pile there. I've got a small pile there. Definitely can't be there. Debris that hasn't been cleaned up there. And then this pile, and then there's another one back there. These ones should just go onto this. This is out in the open. It should be fine to burn. These flags are for a fence line that's going. Oh, and there's logs up there that got to come out. Bloody hell. That can't be there though. That's right in the aspens. That has to come out to here. So we're on the guard here, or the access road for us here. You can see there's a slash pile there. Bunch of logs here. And there's 3 more slash piles there, and then 1 more in the bush a little ways. But all these logs have to come out of here. All these stumps that are in here, we'll just turn them over and put them into the ground here. On the guard, we won't worry about trucking them over because I don't have to knock the dirt out of them. God, I'm filthy. I still got to finish from the top, from this slash pile down to the bottom where we just were. I got to finish limbing up all that and moving all the logs out of there. But the stuff along the fence, we're going to leave it for now. That is stopping the sheep from going through the barbed wire. We'll get this fence line on this side of this alleyway done first and strengthened up, and then we'll take this one down and rebuild this one and clean all this crap up. That way the sheep always have a good secure fence for in here. So, makes sense? Copacetic.